All right, now it's unmuted. Hey, I'm Skip Alsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where sometimes technology just betrays us. And sometimes I feel like I hit a button, but then I look and the little LED is red, and I will have been talking for 10 seconds. Anyways, structure Grasshoppers, that came from the Oregon Archive, which ultimately came from the Mogul Brothers library, where you could rent films and purchase films. They were based in New York City, and they had a catalog, and you could buy, rent films for a couple of cents a day. Everything was super cheap, and then you could buy them, I think, for not a lot. I mean, like $20 or something like that. But yeah, so we have a bunch of those films that we've been scanning for Oregon. Here's another 60mm film that it's part of that Who Are We series that we watched one yesterday. Here's Summertime, Wintertime. Enjoy. So it was almost 90 degrees yesterday, so I feel like I'm feeling it. Feels like summertime already. That's the way it is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Things go wickedly hot and extreme. Mild, not so much. That the fall is kind of mild, but everything else sucks. All right, we have seen is Pierrot, but not the puppet. This is an animated series where Pierrot is spelled differently. This one is about, we saw how to make puppets, and this one is molding clay. Enjoy.
It's a party! It's a party! Cover the walls with these flags. They'll make perfect decorations. Serve the punch. I've got enough glasses here for all our friends.
This bowl is for the potato chips. My mother said that we could use it. Hey, you guys, you want to see something? That's right. Gather around, everyone. Step right up to see Ben, the world's greatest juggler.
Oh, Ben!
A 1, a 2, a 3. Not bad, huh?
Oh, Ben!
Watch me now. The big finish.
Oh, Ben!
Oh, no. What have I done? What have I done?
You broke your mother's bowl. But it's okay. Just make her another one out of clay.
How?
Start by rolling the clay into slugs. It says we'll need to roll lots of slugs. Slugs, and you can make anything out of clay.
Hey, I finished my bowl.
Then let's go to the kiln. It's a special oven just for baking clay. Oh, Ben, you did a nice job on that bowl. It looks as good as the old one.
I think it looks better, Juanita, 'cause I made it myself.
What color are you going to paint your bowl?
I guess I'd better make it the same as the one I broke.
Beautiful. That's real pretty. Should I make something too? Hey, I know. I'll use clay to make my best friend, Booty too.
Stop daydreaming, Pierrot, and get to work. Good for you, Pierrot. See what you can do when you stop daydreaming and start working? Pierrot. Pierrot!
What? Oh, I didn't hear you, Booty-Too. I must have been daydreaming again.
So we have some more Pierrot showing up. And yeah, the animation is just barely animated. I think there's a threshold of like, this kind of works. And you could tell that somebody spent a lot of time on the walk cycles. So there's a lot of reasons to show walking. Because I was like, we figured that out. Let's use that. A lot of shorthand animation. Let's see. What else do we got here that we could watch? What time is it? Here is. It's not labeled correctly. Let's visit South America and go see the geography of South America, Brazil. Enjoy.
Brazil is a land of frontiers and contrasts, from its beautiful cities to the Amazon River and the vast unexplored forest it flows through. The Amazon basin has the world's largest rainforest. Settlements have barely made a dent here, only along the river, but there are new communities developing. There are some roads. The Trans-Amazonian Highway is one of them. It'll connect the northeast coast of Brazil to the Pacific Ocean through Peru. The highway will help people make contact possible with many Indian tribes who live deep in the forest. The forest has made reaching them difficult. Few people speak their Indian languages, and few Indians speak Portuguese, the language of Brazil. In 1976, the whole Amazon basin was surveyed for the first time. It was discovered that the region wasn't all flat, like the area down below is now, but hilly and even mountainous in places. And there were indications that the hills and mountains are rich in minerals. It's an area of many resources, and the Amazon River itself is one of the most important of them. It is wide and navigable for great distances. But the tropical heat is a problem, and so is disease. The Amazon is only one of many rivers that link together to form the Amazon River Basin. The basin is part of several countries of South America, but most of it lies in Brazil. It's nearly half of the country. Outside the basin, they mine. They dam their highland rivers for power. They farm. They have their busy, beautiful cities like Rio de Janeiro. They have their cities. They have their ranches and farms. Half of South America's people are Brazilians. Brazil is a big country with a variety of climates. Tropical regions with little rain, and tropical regions with much rain. In the north and north-central areas, they grow tropical fruits like mangoes and papayas and bananas. Half of all the bananas raised in South America come from here. 3 of their major exports are agricultural products: coffee, cotton, and cacao. Brazilians grow 1/3 of the world's coffee in this area that's around Sao Paulo, their largest city. Coffee is their principal money crop. They grow coffee on large plantations they call fazendas. The ripe berries are processed on the fazenda and then sent to a nearby city. They also grow cotton on large fazendas. Much cotton is still picked by hand, though mechanization is increasing. Some of the cotton is used in their own textile industry. From the cities that are the centers for the agricultural areas around them, coffee and cotton are shipped to Sao Paulo. From here, they go to Santos, the chief port for the East Central region. Goods have been exported from Santos to Europe ever since the time the Portuguese first settled in Brazil. Then the main export was gold. Today, it is coffee. Santos is not their only port, of course. North of here is the port of Salvador in northeastern Brazil, another collecting center for one of the big export crops, cacao beans. Cocoa and chocolate are made from them. Salvador has a more tropical climate. Salvador handles the cacao trade because cacao trees grow only in a hot climate, and as you can see, the equator is not far away. We are now in the tropics. These groves of cacao trees stretch for miles. After harvesting the pods, the workers slice them open and remove the beans. The beans are what they use. They're dried in the sun. Eventually, they'll be exported. Further north, closer to the equator, the carnauba palm tree grows. Hard carnauba wax comes from these leaves. After the leaves are dried in the hot tropical sun, their wax coating dries into a powder which is scraped off and collected. The powder will be refined and then used in polishes and various kinds of waxes. Coastal steamers still collect agricultural products of the northern tropical region and bring them to factories in the industrial cities of the South, although trucking is becoming more and more important. In the South, ships, trucks, and freight trains transport most of the goods to cities like Sao Paulo. But Sao Paulo is more than an agricultural center. It's a center of heavy industry, too. Industries here depend on their huge deposits of high-grade iron ore. They have 1/10 of the world's supply, but they have to import coal to make steel. They have some oil. They mine manganese, chrome, quartz, zircon, and industrial diamonds. What lies in their vast western forest, they don't know yet. Meanwhile, they live along and near the eastern coast, and here their important cities have grown: Recife, Salvador, Belo Horizonte, Rio de Janeiro, Porto Alegre, and Sao Paulo, which may one day be the largest city in the world. Sao Paulo is like any great city. It is many things at once: parks and buildings, people at work in light industry and heavy industry. Factories, office buildings, apartments and homes. Sao Paulo keeps growing. The Brazilians want all their country to keep growing too. That is why they built Brasilia in the unpopulated highlands. It officially became the capital in 1960. They designed Brasilia to be a city of the future. Judge for yourself. They built a university here. In these buildings, government work goes on. It takes many government workers to do the job. That meant the government had to build places for them to live, and they did. Some of the places are homes for families away from the main part of Brasilia, and some are huge apartment superblocks where thousands of people live. The people of Brasilia are all pioneers. They've all come to settle in a frontier region far from their homes near the coast. There are shopping centers here, theaters, the sort of things the people would find in any of their big cities. The success of Brasilia means a great deal to Brazilians. It's a sign that their frontier regions can be conquered, and that statue honors the people who helped them do it. They are Brazilians, a mixture of many cultures. At first, Indian, Portuguese, African. More recently, Arabs and Japanese and other ethnic groups have added their cultures. Now, they are all Brazilians, working together to develop their country, Brazil, the land of half a continent.
Exciting. I have a film about Brasilia, maybe more than one. It's made by a petroleum company, and it's talking about the upcoming development of this new city. And it's, I know at least one entity has requested it for stock footage, but I never saw the documentary that they used it for. So, speaking of which, so I have been adding, excuse me, films that we've been scanning, and also scanning for the Cornet project and other things, and putting them individually on YouTube. Just because some people I think watch, instead of watching the show, they actually like watching these little short segmented things. And there is something I put online 8 days ago, maybe 9 days ago, and it has gotten more than 130,000 views. So in the comments, what do you think that film is? Or what do you think that film was about? We've watched it on this show, and when did we watch it? Wow, we watched it back in August. And so, what was the theme of, what is this film about? You don't even have to get the title. You just have to guess. And this is something I recently have added, like within 9 days ago. Anyways, think about it, and we'll watch this next movie, which is on the scanner behind me. And I should say, this is a driver safety film, but it's made for people who drive buses and heavy equipment. And there's blood in it, but it's all fake. So it's all fake gore, but it's beautiful nonetheless. This is Fatal Stop. Enjoy.
portrait of a school bus crash, but with such horrifying results. This particular school bus crash happened 25 minutes ago, and because it's night and the police and ambulances are still arriving, no one knows at just this moment how many of Bus 32's passengers are injured or dead. But it's already abundantly clear that there are some fatalities.
Where's the driver?
There's the driver, unhurt, helping the best he can, but burdened with the mind-sickening knowledge that very probably the responsibility for this scene was his. Tomorrow, the newspapers will describe this tragedy in detail. Tonight, the details need no describing.
Get the first aid kit out of your car. I got a guy right here. Give me a chance. I got internal bleeding here. I got internal bleeding. Got a sucking chest. Yeah, I'll be right there. First aid kit. Somebody call the police. Over here, Charlie.
Portrait of a school bus driver on his day off. His name is Charlie Schilling, and he's been driving for 16 years without even scratching the paint, as they say in his district. He likes his job, and he's good at it, but he's glad for the day off because, frankly, 5 days of transporting students are enough for anyone. And anyhow, Charlie has a bad cold in the head.
They got a fight on the hands. So come on, let's ride.
But Charlie Schilling's day off is about to go down the tubes, as they say.
Hello? Oh, hi, Rick. Oh, come on. This is supposed to be my day off. Can't you get somebody else to take that trip? Okay. I'll be down in about a half hour, maybe. Man, the way I feel, I should have told him no straight out. Oh, well, that's what I get for answering the phone. Anyhow, I guess I can use the extra money.
And so it begins. A never-to-be-forgotten day, to be entered on the transportation schedule as Fair Oaks football trip.
Hi, Charlie.
Oh, hi.
Sorry to rouse you, but like I said, Wanda's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, so am I. So what's with this football trip?
It's going to take the football team over to Pierrot, and I'm sorry to tell you, you're already late.
Okay. What's the bus?
32. You better get a move on. The team's waiting for you over by the gym.
Okay, but I've never driven 32 before, and I've never been to Fair Oaks football field before.
Don't worry about it. Bus 32 is just like yours. The coach will show you the way. Now, can you get a hustle on for me?
Okay.
Portrait of a school bus. An immensely complicated piece of equipment in which thousands of parts must work together correctly if the bus is to provide reliable and safe transportation. But school buses get a lot of use, and use leads to wear, and wear leads to worn out, a condition that faces tires, brakes, headlights, warning lights, directional signals, and the thousands of other bus components. Case in point, Charlie Schilling's left front tire, which has developed a serious problem. And when Charlie spots it on his pre-trip inspection, he'll want it replaced immediately. Beginning before the engine is even started, with an under-the-hood examination of water and oil levels and the condition of hoses and belts, pre-trip inspection is required by regulation and common sense by every school bus operation in the land. It is unquestionably one of the most critical tasks that school bus drivers perform. frequently printed on a thorough check sheet which lists all items in sequence, pre-trip inspections may contain as many as 80 separate items, each of which must be checked before every trip on which students will be carried.
Brakes, horn, defroster,
and the list continues,
heater,
itemizing every bus component, the proper condition and functioning of which is essential to bus safety.
emergency door.
But no list, however comprehensive and well devised, is any better than the driver who uses it. And if just one item is overlooked, the consequences can be catastrophic.
Hey, Charlie, get a move on. The principal's on the phone. The coach is getting sore.
You can tell the coach he can... All right, I'm coming. What's the coach and teachers know about driving a bus anyhow? It takes time to do this stuff right.
And so, Charlie Schilling continues his already flawed pre-trip inspection. And Bus 32 leaves the transportation yard for the last time. Oh, incidentally, observing as you have what's happened so far, what comments do you have about this football trip to Fair Oaks?
Charlie, where the heck have you been?
Oh, I got a late notice, Coach, that's all.
Behind schedule. Let's go load up.
Hi, Mr. Schilling.
Oh, hi, Connie. How are you?
Portrait of the passengers. Excited, impatient, anxious, worried about the game ahead. Altogether, a fairly typical football team on the way to an important game.
Big game, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay, Coach?
Yeah, we're ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Passengers in their seats, bus on the road. But today, its thousands of parts aren't working together correctly to provide safe transportation. And later, when the question is asked who could have prevented the tragedy, the answer on many lips will be Charlie Schilling. Which introduces the all-important subject of driver responsibility, including the professional responsibility for a scrupulous pre-trip inspection, performed just as thoroughly the 1000th time as the first, in order to find the one or more parts which might not be functioning properly. But not all drivers are responsible.
Nothing's ever wrong with my bus.
It was okay yesterday.
It just came out of the shop.
I'm late. I just don't have time.
Marion checked it this morning.
Excuses? Yes. In fact, words to crash by. Even a factory-fresh bus should be pre-tripped before it carries passengers, because even new parts can malfunction, and only one malfunction can cause a tragedy. To many drivers, it isn't just a question of whether or not a directional signal is working, but what might happen if it isn't working. And at the risk of being thought over dramatic, we suggest that each and every item on the pre-trip checklist be thought of in terms of consequences. The frightening list of what could happen if that particular item failed or malfunctioned.
The emergency door warning buzzer on my bus was broken, but I didn't think it was important because I thought I could keep my eyes on the door. But I was concentrating on the road, and two boys started roughhousing, and one of them fell out. Darn near killed himself.
Well, I knew the windshield wipers didn't work on my bus, but I figured it hadn't rained in a long, long time. So I took the bus out, and it rained. What a cloudburst, and no way can you drive in the rain without windshield wipers.
Kind of embarrassing what happened to me. I didn't check the gas gauge, ran out of gas, full load of kids, on a rainy day in the middle of nowhere.
One of our buses had a loose seat. Nothing that seemed urgent to fix or anything. But I had to make a panic stop one day, and a little girl broke her nose.
broken right turn signal cost us a few $1,000s in a lawsuit. Driver of the other car couldn't tell I was going to turn right, and before the whole thing was over, the other driver spent some time in the hospital, and I almost lost my job.
Well, I've always had the idea that using a seatbelt isn't that important. But on this one trip, I had to swerve, hit a soft shoulder, and I got thrown into the step well.
There was this one morning when I forgot to check the lug nuts on the front wheel. Before I got out of my parking place, the wheel fell off. Some kids had figured that loosening the nuts would be a good Halloween trick. Funny, huh? That'll never happen again.
Which introduces the subject of vandalism. A costly and dangerous practice which increasingly plagues a lot of bus operations. Broken windows and slashed seat cushions. Dangerous fun with a fire extinguisher? Yes, you know they happen. But also sugar in the gas tank and nails in the tires. How would you like to miss that little booby trap on a pre-trip inspection? If you'd like a personal anecdote, listen to the driver who had his brake lines cut by vandals.
Well, I was in a hurry to leave the yard, and I didn't check anything very well. And when I tried to stop at the stop sign, boy, I sailed right out into the street and up the driveway across from it.
So he returned for another bus, which had the same problem. And as he sailed through the same stop sign for the second time, he became convinced that a complete pre-trip inspection should include a thorough brake test.
Oh, a really tragic thing happened in the district across the river from us. One of the drivers was in a hurry, I guess, and she forgot to adjust her crossover mirror. So she couldn't possibly see the little girl getting her lunchbox room in front of the bus.
You see, the school bus driving profession allows no mistakes. None. And the first place to prevent on-the-road problems is that all-important pre-trip inspection, as Charlie Schilling has been trained to do. Well, you've heard our drivers talk about some consequences of sloppy pre-trip inspections, but what are some other potential consequences? And what constitutes a good pre-trip inspection? Bus at Fair Oaks, excitement in the air. This is the day they worked so hard for and plan to remember always for fun and football. It's a day they will remember for a school bus and its driver, their friend, Charlie Schilling.
You gonna be rooting for us tonight, Mr. Schilling?
You bet, Connie. I'll be over just as soon as I secure this bus.
Okay, see you later.
You bet.
And so, miles from home, Charlie finishes securing his bus, secure in the knowledge that everything is A-OK. But everything isn't A-OK. And this is the day that Charlie Schilling will scratch the paint. One of the best ways known to bus drivers not to scratch the paint is that all-important pre-trip inspection.
Mirrors clean and properly adjusted.
Emergency exits. Check for proper operation in opening and closing.
Check vacuum tanks.
Check turn signals, right and left, front and rear.
Check tires for condition and pressure.
And the list continues. Because the pre-trip ritual can never be left to chance, whether the inspection takes place in the bus yard or at home. But isn't the responsibility for putting safe buses on the road a team operation involving manufacturers, mechanics, and transportation supervisors as well as drivers? Yes, it is.
All right. Yes, we as manufacturers, as the other manufacturers, try to build the safest bus we can for our children.
My job's to put the safest buses on the road possible. How can I do that if the drivers don't ride them up and tell me what's wrong with them?
Andy, we seem to have a problem. We've got some kind of a strange noise up front.
You can't tell for sure.
Well, there's a lot of times, and most of the times, that I'd rather get out myself and drive that bus and see or feel it myself, because until you really know or feel, it's hard to pick up a problem that a driver has with it.
There, we're picking it up a little bit. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I think I got it, Dick.
As supervisor, dealing with professionals, I feel like this. Pre-trip inspection is the driver's most important function of the day.
But while the team is behind the wrench or the phone or the desk, it's the driver who ends up behind the wheel. And if there's trouble or tragedy, it's the driver who's always there when it happens.
Before I ever leave the bus yard, if there's anything wrong with the bus, the mechanics know about it immediately.
We check out our bus each time before we leave the yard. We're encouraged to write down specific problems that may be wrong with our bus.
Not only is it important to check out the bus and to know that it's in good shape to make the trip, it's also important for the bus driver to pre-test himself to know if he's ready to make the trip, because out on the road anything can happen.
A pre-trip inspection for drivers, too. A kind of self-inspection to answer the question, am I ready to get behind the wheel? Yes, because the driver is an even more complicated piece of equipment than the bus. And good as the bus may be, it's no better than its driver is. Today. Sick today? Taking medication today? Especially angry or upset today? Preoccupied with serious personal problems?
Although I'm not ill very often, I feel it is quite important to let my supervisor know when I'm not feeling well. And being a professional, I would never take advantage of the situation.
Being ready to drive has to do with taking medication, too. I think most people realize there are certain medications that can make driving unsafe. And if my doctor ever prescribes medication that could make me unsafe behind the wheel of my bus, no way am I going to take that chance.
Well, if a driver comes in angry or upset emotionally, it's kind of a human tendency to hide this or try to. But we found that if we talk it over with our supervisor, it's much, and we do not send a driver out, or we don't go out as a driver if we have an emotional upset or we're angry about something.
Bus drivers, like everyone else, have family problems. But if they bring them to work with them, their mind can't be on their job. Their mind's at home.
As a supervisor, my greatest prime concern is the safety, both for the equipment and the drivers. Now, I personally want to be out here to look at the drivers, make sure they've got the right attitude, and that things are going to go well during the day.
I've always told my drivers that if they don't really feel honestly ready to drive, they should tell me. Now, they're professionals, so they'd never take advantage of that. But, well, there's just no way that I'd send a driver out if that driver didn't feel that he or she was really ready.
Which brings us back to Charlie Schilling and the Fair Oaks football trip.
Hey, Danny, boy, you did it! Great! Great! Oh, girls, you were beautiful. It was your team. We did it, huh? We did it.
Inside the bus, the characteristic confusion of a winning team. On the left front wheel, an uncharacteristic condition, approaching the kind of consequence that will affect the lives of everyone on board.
Okay, settle down. Yeah, you won, that was great, but if I'm going to get you home safely, you're going to have to keep down the noise just a little bit, okay? All right, okay.
Passengers in their seats, bus on the road. But tonight, the mood is different, because the #1 team is enjoying the ride of football teams everywhere to be excited about its most important victory. Almost home, and with only a few miles left to go, it finally happens.
My God, Charlie, what happened? We blew a tire.
Oh, boy, that was close.
You're not kidding.
Well, I'm going to see if I can get this thing out of here.
All right.
It's hung up. I can't get it out.
What's the matter with it?
I don't know. It's stuck or something.
So often it's a combination of things that makes the difference. Like right now, with Bus 32 stopped on a curve at night, Charlie Schilling faces the final consequence of a sloppy pre-trip inspection when he opens the cover of his reflector box.
I don't have any reflectors.
You're kidding. Where are they?
Oh, they're not here.
Well, as they say, that's it. A setup for catastrophe, which will involve everyone connected with Bus 32, and the driver of that big interstate rig just now closing the gap down the highway.
No.
Not much else to say. At just this moment, Charlie Schilling is the only one at the scene who could even describe what happened. But later, an awful lot of questions will be asked about that Fair Oaks football trip and the reasons it never returned home. When the National Transportation Safety Board investigates the crash, they'll fill out a lot of forms having to do with the driver, the vehicle, and the environment. If you had to fill out those forms, what things would you say caused that crash?
I can check that gear in a minute, so don't touch anything, okay?
Hey! Get down from there! Now! Hey! Turn it over! What if it bumped that control by accident? You'd be mincemeat by now. What have I told you? You don't work on equipment when the engine's running.
Well, I told him not to touch anything. All right, I guess I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking. You mean you'll work on engines and machinery and not think of your own personal safety? Here, shake hands with danger.
Shake hands with danger. Meet a man you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Fingered Joe. I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on a dozier with my mechanic's pride. Said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Fingered Joe. Although I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Fingered Joe. I've seen mechanics burning, and I've seen them take a fall, just to save themselves a minute. I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment and spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Fingered Joe.
So I got a copy of this Transfusion by Nervous Norvis because that features the sound effects that we heard in Final Stop. Wow, that film was great. I really like that film. Yes, lots of intense accidents and fake gore, which is, of course, why we brought up Shake Hands with Danger. but it has the same feel, even though the company's different. It has the same feel of some of the Gene Starbecker films. And Then It Happened, and what's the other one? Death Zones, where it kind of sets up what's going to happen. Really phenomenal. And there's driver's ed films made by Highway Safety Films that have the same type of thing, although it's not as polished as what we saw. So what is the film that has basically 130,000 views in 9 days? It is What is a Cat, made in 1972, and it has blown up. Like, I mean, cat videos, right? Like, you know, if that's what I wanted to do to be more popular, I would just post cat videos. Surprisingly, Wonder Cat is not one of those, not those films that seem to get those numbers, and I don't know why. But thanks for joining us today. Very much appreciate your eyeballs and your time. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. Watch other videos that we have on our channel. We make advertising pennies off of everything you watch, and that makes us feel good. You can also subscribe. You can also go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com /avgeeks. Those are other ways to support us. Yeah. So everybody have a great rest of your Wednesday, and be sure to inspect your school bus before you drive it. And if you're on cold medication, perhaps you shouldn't drive. Take care. That's my public service announcement for the day. Love you. Bye.